Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube. Okay, so today's video is gonna be a little bit similar to not my last one, but my second to last one, talking about me. So it was titled "A Girl from Oakland." So we're still gonna be kind of touching bases on that, but this time I'm gonna get a little bit more personal. Okay, so like I said before, I was born and raised in Oakland, California. Okay, this little piece, seriously, girl, I was having some hair issues today, child. So let's just fix that. Oh, look at this thing. Oh shit. Alright, let's just work that up. I'm gonna be talking about me. Obviously, I just said that. Okay. So I was born and raised in Oakland, Cali. 510, okay, child. And like I said, it was already hard because I had a lot of issues at home. You know, it was a lot of craziness. You know, my mom was crazy. My dad was crazy. I watched a video last night though that I think a lot of people will be more familiar with. So my dad was always physically, verbally, emotionally abusive to my mom. So, you know, growing up in that type of household, seeing that type of stuff has a really big effect on, you know, the child. So, you know, from the point I can remember, you know, my dad was all of those things, okay? So I was always, it just like, it made like this, I was always really anxious. What you know, as I started to get older, I started to realize that, you know, those type of things have a really big effect on kids. And I didn't really know that until I got older. And I started to realize like, I was always kind of like anxious. And like, I didn't know what that was. Pause. I didn't even know what anxiety was until I got older, and I'm starting to realize like, how come sometimes I feel really, really good and sometimes I feel really, really bad, you know, depending on the situation. I didn't really, you know, touch bases on that until I was maybe in about 8th grade. And I started to, you know, ask people, you know, my friends and stuff like, hey, do you feel like this? Do you feel like that? And well, it wasn't really my friends. It was more so like my cousins and stuff. I was really close to my cousins. On my mom's and my dad's side, I was close with like 3 cousins each. It's just crazy. So my cousin on my mom's side, name is Yasmin. I was really close to her. We're actually 8 days apart. So my birthday is March 10th, 1999, and her birthday is March 17th. Well, so no, her birthday is March 18th. I think it's like, yeah, one. But either way, you know, we're a couple days apart. So yeah, we're the same age, and we were like really close, like almost like sisters. We grew up in the same household for a long period of our lives. And I forgot this seat has like a bag so I could like not be all over your face. Like, okay, no, but you know, we were really close. And you know, to this day we both have some of the similar, you know, things. When I was young, I was always really, I can make friends really fast. She couldn't. And then I realized as I got older, it was harder for me to make friends. And I'm like, I never had this issue, you know, growing up. Am I ashy? No. But, you know, I never had that issue growing up. I mean, when I was young, but when I grew up, I'm like, how do I make friends? I don't know. This little piece of hair is like pissing me off. Like my little beads in the back. But yeah, so, you know, she's seen from with a disease called lupus. She still has it. So after she had my sister, she was diagnosed with a disease called lupus. It's a autoimmune disease, something like that. But anyways, you know, it was really hard. It's in the same family as a type of cancer. It's not cancer, obviously, but it's an autoimmune disease like cancer. So, you know, it fucks up your insides, your immune system, sorry. And, you know, it was really devastating. And my mom was gone for like a couple, I don't remember, like a year or two, or something like that of my life, where I was completely without my mom. I was just raised by my dad and my cousins and my aunties and my grandma. And I didn't see my mom for a really long time. And, you know, previous to that, my mother was never abusive to me. But it was like immediately after that, she was. So I don't know if it had anything to do with her sickness or just, you know, a lot of stuff was going on with my mom and my dad at the time. Their relationship issues were like through the roof, you know. It was just crazy. So, you know, when she got out of that sickness and she's actually got better, she became just a really mean, like, person to me in particular, but also to other people. But it was like me in particular. She was just really, like I said, I did develop anxiety, but also really huge anger problems. I was always really angry. So like, really it started around 6th grade when I became of age, kind of like a teenager. You know, I couldn't really do anything at home, so I would go to school, and I got this like in my last video, like I said, it's laughable almost, but then at the time it wasn't, because, you know, it was my way of like fighting back, but, you know, to people that didn't deserve it. Not people in particular, mostly teachers. So my teachers started to get the short end of the stick for me because I was unable to, like, you know, talk back to my mom or anything without getting beat up. So then I started to go to school, and, you know, I knew the adults there, they couldn't, you know, they couldn't hit me. So then I started to kind of be mean there. So, oh my god, this piece of hair is like not. So yeah, I started to be mean to the teachers, and I had like these, like, some days I'd be like really, really cool, and like you could tell they were like a nice, good, oh my god. But really, I was just like, I think a situation would happen that was harder at home where I would just be kind of sad, and like I didn't have enough energy to like talk shit that day, so I would just be kind of quiet. But then there have like these outbursts of like just like really bad, like I had a bad mouth, like my mouth was bad, and like I would talk back. I would just start stuff with teachers. Like I said, it was with teachers in particular. I can't breathe. It was never with like kids or my peers or classmates. It was like with teachers. Like I said, I think that was my way of like fighting back with an adult. I told my teachers in Burt Hart Middle School in Oakland, California. And that's pretty much it. I was really only like that in middle school for some odd reason. I don't know. Like, it was like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade were like my toughest years, and my, like, when I was just really bad. I would get sent out like every single day because I was always arguing with the teachers. I like to argue. But yeah, and that was also a really hard year for me because my grandpa died, and when I was in, I think 6th grade. Yeah, I was in 6th grade. I had just entered 6th grade, I believe. Or was I? No, I was in 6th grade, yeah. It was like the beginning of the year. So, you know, that was like the year where I just completely fell apart. He was like he was like a father to me, because when my mom and dad broke up, when I was like around in the 5th grade, what grade was I in when my mom and dad broke up? Like 4th grade, I think. When they broke up, and before that, even before that, he was like always my dad, because like after a while, my dad wasn't really like, he wasn't the type to take you to the park and like take you for ice cream. I told you in the previous video, like he would take you to the hood. Like that was fun for him. And I guess he thought it would be fun for me. It wasn't. It was okay. It turned me into very much of a good girl, you know. Growing up, I was really a tomboy. I've always been a tomboy. So, you know, on top of my own characteristics, my dad always treated me like a boy, and he always brought me to like the hood. So I'm gonna just say the hood because yeah, let's just and around his friends and stuff. So I was like, what I seen as a child, I'm thinking like, this is how I'm supposed to act, like these guys, like these gangsters on the street. And that's not cute, but that's how I acted. Like literally 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, like I was like, my teachers would describe me as like a bad little boy. I was terrible actually. But yeah, shout out to my teachers in Bret Harte Middle School. I'm sorry, like I was terrible. I was so mean. Like I remember one time, like I was just going so hard on this teacher. She just started crying, and I was just like, well, then it was funny for me. Like I was like, but now I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't know what you were going through. My bad. I was going through a lot. So like I said, that was my outlet for everything that was going on at home. You know, I would take it out on my teachers because I couldn't take it out on my mom because I didn't want to get abused. You know, so that was that. So yeah, shout out to all my teachers in Bret Harte. I'm sorry. Yeah, look at me now. I look exactly the same as I did in middle school. Now what topic? Oh, so like I said, I was always a tomboy. Like I was like, there was this thing, I'm Native American, so I was always really big on all the activities that the Native American, I don't know what to call it, but in Oakland there's not a lot for the Native American community, but my grandma is Native American, full-blooded, so she always made sure that me and my sisters, me and my siblings, because I have an older brother, that we all were very active in the community to know, you know, our heritage. So she always kept us really involved in any and everything to do with, you know, our tribe. So my grandmother, for, was it her 40th or 39th year? Well, it was almost 40 years, I think, or 30. I think it was 40 though, that she worked at this place called the Native American Health Center in Oakland, California. There's this place called the Native American Health Center, and that's where my grandmother worked for like all of her career. So that was like a really big part of my life. Anything that health center had, you know, they would have, like, it was crazy. From like the moment that I was old enough, probably like 3rd grade, I remember that far back, or maybe even farther. No, kindergarten, I'm tripping. So like my whole life, I was always involved in anything that like they did a lot. It wasn't just, they didn't just do, they did like every holiday, they had like a Halloween party, they had like a Christmas party, what other holidays are there? yeah, but you get the idea. So my grandma always made sure she told us and brought us to those parties and everything. Like I said, it was fun too. It was really fun. Everyone was really nice, and we were always really welcomed because my grandma worked there. So she was like the connoisseur, or like, anyway, she was really important in the Native American Health Center. So as her grandchildren, we were very welcomed there, and it was really fun. We always had like I said, so we would like go to the Halloween parties like maybe a week before Halloween, get like a lot of candy, gifts. So for Christmas, they always had like gifts for us, raffle parties, raffles for us to get gifts, and then also give us gifts without a raffle. So it was just really fun, really big part of my life. I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, okay, this is where I was going. So, I was always involved in any and every activity that they had for us, for the Native American community, because, you know, it's really, really small in Oakland. It's like a little mustard seed in Oakland. You know, there's only like 10 of us, but there was, especially in Oakland, I thought it was really cool because there is a lot of Native American that look like me, okay, because it is Oakland, so very diverse. So there's a lot of mixed kids, and I always felt really comfortable. So we would all like get together, and there was a thing called the Youth Center. So it was the American Indian Youth Center in Oakland. And almost every, like I said, there wasn't that many of us. So almost everyone that was Native American went to this youth center as teenagers, young adults. We were all, actually, I think it was like 13 and up. But like I said, my grandma was really important. So me and my cousin, I call her my twin cousin because like I said, we're like 7 days apart, 6 days, whatever. So we were always together all the time. And me and her, I think we're like 11 or 10, maybe younger than that actually. We're like not, I don't know. But for a long time, we went to the youth center in Oakland. It's on well, I don't know if it's there anymore, which is weird because I haven't been there in a really long time. But in the past, it was on International, and I don't know what street, but if you guys know International and are very familiar with it, because I'm not, it's like right across the street from Wendy's. So you know what I'm talking about, on International, East Oakland, there's a Wendy's. It's right across the street from like a liquor store. And then across from that, directly across from Wendy's, on International, there's like a white building. It looks really old. And that's where the youth center was. So we went there, then it was just like we would go there after school, and it was really fun because I was always at my cousin's house after school. We would go there after school, and they had like a bunch of activities for us, and that became one of my outlets for, you know, all the anger and anxiety, everything I was going through. That was a really big outlet for me. So they had like fun stuff that I never got to do. Like I learned how to play pool there, that I can still play pool to this day because I learned there. They had they would take us on like field trips. We would go different places. I forgot where because I was only allowed on one. So yeah, I don't remember. But ooh, there's like this really pretty yellow butterfly outside my window. It's really cute. I love butterflies. Anyways, but they had this basketball team. And of course, tomboy me, I really loved that. That was like the highlight of my life, and that's when I realized that I really loved basketball. And because I was so tall, okay, I was like the tallest girl in life. No, at that time I was tall though. I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I was already like 5'5", and that's kind of tall for that age. Maybe 5'4", 5'5"-ish, but I was tall for that young of an age. And since they did not have a girls team, And that's weird, right? Like, girls don't like basketball. But they didn't have a basketball team for girls. So, because I was grandma's favorite. No. No, because mostly that. Mostly. So, they let me on the boys team because I was tall too. And I can play basketball really good. They were like, oh, okay, she can play basketball well. She's tall. Let's make her point guard and let's put her on the boys team. See how she does. When I tell you, it was so terrible. It was so bad. Because all the like, and you know, we had to go against every team like in Oakland that was on like the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, all of that. And it was just a lot for me because they were all boys. There was like, I think like one time that I was playing against another team that there was one girl. So we were like the only 2 girls on the all boys team. But anyways, it was horrible because boys used to like push me around, call me names. Like, it was mean. But it molded me into a very tomboyish girl because I had to defend myself never against girls, it was boys. So I learned my defense mechanisms were against boys. So yeah, it's kind of where my personality comes from to this day. And also my dad, he loved that I like, what if they hit me hard? What if they're stronger than me? He's like, no one's stronger than your face. Okay. So I was always taught like not to use words, to use violence, because that's the answer. That's what I was taught. But yeah, that made me be even more angry. So whenever there was an issue with like anyone, I would try to fight my way out of it instead of like talk a way that I could like be angry and not get in trouble, you know, be competitive and not get in trouble. So that was it to me. So shout out to the Friendship House. It's called the Friendship House. The Friendship House is still active in downtown Oakland. I forgot where it's at exactly. Gonna have to, don't hold me on that. But the Friendship House basketball team really helped me. And I'm sure a lot of other kids, you know, that were probably going through so much stuff, either internally or externally. Growing up in Oakland, California, you know, it was hard. You're constantly faced with gang violence, gang activity, just violence in general. And that was a safe haven for us. And it wasn't just for Native American children. It was for everybody, you know, anybody, like if you have friends, anybody was, you know, invited there. So I really am thankful for them and for my grandma as well for providing the resources for us, you know, to get away from the things that we were dealing with. And my grandma was more than aware of the abuse that I was subjected to as a child, because she lived with us. So for a little bit, she lived with us for a while actually. After my mother got sick, you know, she needed help, and they lived with us before that too. But you know, she was a very active, you know, person in my life that really helped me and helps me, present tense, you know, to this day, the person that was there for me no matter what. You know, if it wasn't for my grandma, who knows where I would be, because like I said, I lost my grandpa when I was about 10 or 11. He died in 2010. So yeah, I was 10, and maybe I was 11. No, I was 10. Yeah. Because I turned 11 the previous year, like, you know, January. It was December. He died December 21st, 2010. And you know, he was my everything. He was, I ain't gonna cry, but child, you know, he was everything to me because he was the light in my life that, you know, let me know like everything's gonna be okay. Like, and he didn't really know everything that was going on at home, but he had like a clue. He made sure that, you know, he picked us up every day. Well, he tried to pick us up every day. Me in particular, my sisters were really too young to go with him. So, you know, he made it his job, his duty to come pick me up every weekend from the time I was probably born to the time that he died. He picked me up every weekend. Unless he was busy, unless he was like literally busy with work or something, he couldn't, but it was every weekend for, you know, we would go everywhere. Like I said, he was and to this day is my father. It was every weekend. Anything that we needed, he would get for us. You know, he would ask my mom, you know, do you need money? Do you need help with this? Do you need help with that? You know, just let me know. I'll give you anything you need. You know, I was getting in trouble at school. He would always like sit me, you know, down and just be like, what's wrong? You know, why are you acting like this? What's going on? You know, something that my parents just didn't do. So I could never, you know, I like would just cry and just be like, I don't know, I'm sorry. Like, but I knew why. I just couldn't tell him. And that was terrible for me because I told him everything. And, you know, it was just hard. So when he died, I just like, that was it for me, child. That was it for me. I was just completely broken. I would cry every single day. I forgot to mention, he introduced me to music. My grandfather was very musically inclined. You know, music was his life. It was like his second job to what he was already doing in life. From a very early age, he was always playing music. He was always trying to get his brothers like in a band. He was young. He played like any instrument that you can think of. He played the piano. He played the keyboards. He played the saxophone. He played the guitar. What else? He played did I say the sax? Yeah, the sax. Like just all the major instruments. He played the drums so well. Any instrument that you can think of, my grandfather played. So from a really young age, you know, he, like I said, he would always bring me to his house, and he had, I believe, a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom in West Oakland, California. Shout out to West. He lived there for a really long time, and he had a separate room that was off limits. You guys don't go in there, you know, play everywhere else, but don't play in there. So one day I just decided to ask him, like, what's in this mysterious room that we can't go in? Like, what the heck? Like, we could do anything with you, but we can't go in this room? Like, what? And I'm talking about is my cousins, on my dad's side. My cousin Jermisha and my cousin Lonzea. We were like the three stooges growing up. I love them to this day. Especially my cousin Lonzea. She's a really big person in my life. She always has been. So shout out to Lonzea. Anyways, so he would always pick us three up, and he would take us there. And then one day I just decided to ask him, like, what's in this room? He's like, well, I'll show you. He was like, I couldn't wait for you to ask, child. So he brought me in this room, and I was like a kid in the candy store. Like, I was just like in awe, and my eyes were like, you have a freaking music studio in your house. Like, it was like, it literally looked like a studio. Like, drums over here, saxes over here. Like, towards the window was multiple keyboards. Then like right towards the door was like this big ass computer, like an Apple. I've never seen a computer in my life. and it was like the flat screen kind, but it was an Apple, like a Apple iMac, whatever. It was huge. It was like, it looked like a TV, and I was just like, what? Like, oh my god, like, what is this? Like, there was guitars everywhere, basses, electric guitars plugged up to like these huge amps. And I just remember like being so like enthused and amazed. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, why you have this in your house? Like, what the heck? It's like, do you have a band? Like, what the heck? And he's no, I don't have a band. So I was like, do you have like a band? He's like, I can play all these instruments, Naya. My nickname is Naya, by the way. So he's like, I can play all these instruments. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, the fuck you can't. Like, stop kidding me. You're lying. And I'm like, I just gave him this look of like, he's like, what? You don't think I can play these instruments? And I'm like, no. And he's like, watch. So I remember this day. I remember every moment with my grandpa. So the first thing he went to go play was the guitar. So he plugged the guitar, electric guitar, into the amp, and he started to play it. I'm just like, what? Just like, oh my goodness. So then he hops to the piano, and he starts literally playing like a song, this beautiful melody on the piano. And I'm just like you can just imagine, I'm just sitting there like following everywhere he's going, like just like next one, like wow. So from the piano he goes to the drums, and he starts like just going on the drums, like the best drum playing you could ever imagine. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I was just like at that point in my life, but the first man that I was introduced to and looked up to and fell in love with ultimately was my grandfather. So I was just literally in love. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, not only with the fact that he could play music, but that's where my love for music started. And then from the drums, he went to the saxophone, started just playing the saxophone so beautifully, like just a beautiful jazz, like, everything was jazz based. So it was all sounded like jazz. And like, I was just like, wow. And then the last thing he did was he started to sing. And I just remember crying because, not crying like, but like tearing up, because it was just so beautiful, and I've never heard a voice like that in my life. So I was just like, wow, like my grandpa is so cool. Like, here he is. Like, at the time he was only like in his 40s. So yeah, I had a young grandpa, okay? He was only in his 40s, so his early 40s. So he had so much life in him. And that's when I was just like, wow, like life is not that bad, because look at my grandpa. Like, he's so cool. He plays all these instruments, and I can come here whenever I want and play these instruments. Like, whenever I'm having a bad day or something's going wrong at home, like I could come here and play an instrument, or just listen to him play his instruments. So, I remember I was just so happy at that time of my life. Like, even though I was going through a lot at home, I couldn't wait for the weekend, because I knew I had to look forward to my grandpa. And he knew everything about me, and I knew everything about him. He was my best friend. His birthday just passed, August 26th. He's a Virgo, and he was just the best man that I could ever imagine. So like I said, back to the bad. I'm happy that I got to spend 10 beautiful years with him, plus my father's abuse towards my mother. I was just in a really bad place, but I knew like I can always go to my grandpa's or my grandma's house on 35th and Humboldt. That was the place. I could always go, like, and that's when we lived right down the street from, I lived on Coolidge growing up. And my grandma lived on Coolidge and Humboldt. So, like, it's called the Pullum House. It's no longer the Pullum House because, yeah, it's just not. It got sold or bought, whatever. Get your fucking vacation, right? Fuck y'all. But, that was the Pullum House. So it was just not only a couple steps down from my house that I lived at. So whenever I was having a bad day, you know, I would call my auntie Joyce, and I would be like, can I come over? And she's like, of course. And I was like, you know, Misha there, obviously. She was my go-to too. Me and Misha are also the same age. Her birthday's in October, I believe. So she'll be 22. Yeah. And yeah, that was my go-to growing up as well. She had a lot of stuff going on with her, so we were very close. I see a white butterfly. That's my grandpa. Anyways, so we were really close, and that was the place that I went when I was having a bad time. And most of the time, you know, my grandpa would be there, or he would come by, something like that, because my grandmother still was alive. Yeah, everyone else, you know, that I loved and grew up with is gone. My great grandmother, Miss Pullum, is gone. My grandpa's gone. So my grandpa died. It was just a really bad time for me. That's when my anger was magnified. You know, I no longer had anyone to save me from what I was going through, whether that be emotionally, physically, mentally. I had no one to talk to. I had no longer could look forward to anything. So I became very hateful. I became very, you know, mean and just really hurt. You know, a child that was really just always looking for love because I never had it. And I was just, like I said, I was constantly being abused, so I would act out. I became just so volatile, in my opinion, like, to these teachers, and, you know, like, they're just like, why are you like this? You know, in my mind, I'm like, I know why, but I'm not gonna tell you why. And, you know, that added to who I am today. You know, it took me a really long time, you know, with relationships. I went through a lot of, you know, bad relationships because I was looking for love. I was looking for somebody to run away from home. So I was always looking for somebody to you know, take the place of my grandfather, I guess I should say. So I always dated older guys, you know, from the time I was like young, like I was like 14. I was always talking to older guys. Like, I always had somebody I was trying to love, or someone that wanted to love me. So, you know, it wasn't hard for me, you know, I just, and I had a boyfriend, so I always had a boyfriend. And, you know, like, I just went, like, through guys, like, fucking, like, I changed clothes. I was, like I said, I was always looking for someone to replace that. And because I had so much trauma from my childhood, I didn't even know how to love my damn self. So I was like, I'm trying to, like, have a boyfriend to love me, but I'm, like, mean and abusive and just, like, don't give a fuck, you know? Like, here I am already damaged as hell, 14, 15, 16 years old, looking for love, but I don't know how to love. And not only that, I started to, like I said, just be really angrier than most. And I got into the wrong crowds. You know, growing up in Oakland, it's very easy to just, you know, the bad life you don't pick the bad life picks you. So when you're already damaged and traumatic things are happening in your life, it's very easy to fall into the wrong crowds, make the wrong friends, just do the wrong things. So when I was like around 14, 15, 16 years old. I lost a lot of friends. I gained a lot of bad new ones. I was just doing a lot of erratic things, like things I would never, you know, in a million years think of doing. But because I was going through a really weird time in my life, I thought it was like helping me. Really was making things worse, y'all, because I was just like, I would like go with a bunch of friends. Like, all my friends were older than me. Situation. But I knew right from wrong from the time I was able to talk and make my own decisions. But it was like an adrenaline rush for me where I'm like, this is amazing. This is cool. And it was like so terribly like when it was done, I'd be like, bitch, what are you doing? What are you thinking of? Why would you do that? But then I'm like, oh my God, I'll do that again next weekend. You know, but it was something like it was another outlet for me. So I would make these really bad decisions knowing that like it was bad. The sun went away, so I'm not like as vibrant. But yeah, so I was around 16. No, I had just turned 17 when I got into the worst relationship of my life. It was terrible, child. But I met this boy, and he wasn't really a boy. He was like 19, and I was like 17. But anyways, we met on Snapchat. I'm not gonna say his name because I'm like a little bit respectful, but anybody who knows me knows what the fuck I'm talking about, okay? And I just thought I had met my Prince Charming bitch. I was like 19 and I was like 17. But anyways, we met on Snapchat. I'm not gonna say his name because I'm like a little bit respectful, but anybody who knows me knows what the fuck I'm talking about, okay? And I just thought I had met my Prince Charming bitch. I was like, oh my God, like he's so cute and he's older than me, and yeah, he's so nice to me, which he was in the beginning. He was sweet and stuff, you know. But I'm gonna just say his name rhymes with Pico. Anyways, so he was older than me, and I like just fell in love immediately. Like I said, I was always searching for love. So like the first person that was serious with me, I just fell head over heels in love with him. And, you know, it was cool for a long time. But then like the truth started to come out. I started to realize who he really was, you know, his real situations. And I found myself just stuck like in a pickle. Made a lot of bad decisions. Like found out he had like multiple girls and shit. So I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know if I like him anymore. Like, what the heck? So like I started to be like, that turned me into like the most emotional, still looking for love girl in the world, because like I still wanted love. So I had him, right? And I had like all these other boys like I was still like talking to. Because once I found out who he really was, I was like, well, he ain't about to play me, bitch. So let me make sure I keep 1, 2, 3, and 4 so that, you know, I don't get hurt. And the truth was I was already hurt, so that's why I was doing the things I was doing. But you know, as girls, we be trying to act like we're not hurt, and we really are. But once he found out that I was like talking to multiple people, that's when he just switched. He like became mentally abusive. No, not physically, because I would beat his ass. But he became verbally abusive. So he would like constantly call me on my name, like cuss at me, tell me I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm a bitch, I'm a whore, I'm a slut. And I didn't have to do anything. These were like my names. Like he would call these things to me like it was my name. Like, hey bitch, hey slut, come here bitch. I'm just like, but I'm so stupid, and I'm like, you know, reciprocating this energy. So as my first love, or my first boyfriend, I'm like, well, I ain't no bitch. I ain't no pussy. So he'd be like, hey, bitch. I'd be like, what, bitch? I'm like, hey, slut. I'd be like, what, whore? Like, you know, I wasn't like, you know, this dumb bitch or anything, because I was like doing the same thing back. But it was my distorted, disgusting idea of love, you know. Okay, let me read. I was a little stupid because I thought that was love and it wasn't. It was like the fact that I actually do have that. She was like, I know it's like tough, but at least you know, and we can like do things to help, you know, that. Because I've never been big on like medications and stuff. I wouldn't even like shove an Advil down my throat because I don't like pills and shit like that. So I was like, if I can avoid that, that would be tight. She's like, okay, no problem, we can try some things. So we started to do like her little exercises and whatever, and it worked. It like really worked for me. I became better, but I still suffer, and to this day, and I still did at the time when I was diagnosed, I still suffer from depression. So like it was working with my symptoms of, you know, BP2, but I was still really sad all the time. Like, I was really sad, like hopeless, always thinking the worst. And she's like, oh, I think you have major depressive disorder as well. And I'm like, oh, you don't say. She's like, yeah, so this is gonna be tough, you know, because BP2 is, you know, BP2 already has characteristics of depression. So now that you have both, it's going to be really hard to balance the two, because I'm already suffering from trying to balance my moods. Now I gotta balance like depression symptoms as well. Fucking great. So she's like, but it's gonna work, like you're gonna be cool. And depression is like, it's like a lot of mania. If you guys don't know what mania is, it's like abnormal behavior, obviously, and it's like elevated like energy levels. So it's like, if I'm having a mania, I guess a mania, I don't know what you call it, like a mania like episode, there we go, a mania episode, then I would be really like hyper excited, hyper energy, whereas like I just drank a cup of coffee or like a Red Bull, like super excited, like yeah, let's go, yeah. But I'm just having a little bit of mania, or I'm just having like a episode. So like I can be, she described it as like when oh my god, she described it as like when, say you like are on a roller coaster, and like you reach the top of the roller coaster, and you're like, your adrenaline's pumping, and you're like really scared, but not really scared, but like excited for what's about to happen next. So like that feeling where you like just ran a marathon and you like make it to the top of the mountain, and you're like, I'm on top of the world, bitch. Like, that's like kind of what a mania or BP2 episode is. It's not what people think, which is like a lot of people think like that you're just like crazy. I don't like that word. I've come to grasp it though, because it's like, yeah, maybe like Tupac off of Juice. But you know what? I am crazy. But you know what? I don't give a fuck. No, that's my movie though. But it's kind of like that, you know, where it's like this hyper, like what some people think, you know, it's not like people think that you're just like running around like fucking, you guys remember the guy on Fairly Odd Parents where he's like Fairly Odd Parents, and he like changes like all, people think that's what bipolar disorder is, and it's not. Completely far from it. It's more so like I said, I can feel on top of the world, so happy, so overly happy though. Like, you ever seen someone and they're just like way too excited and you're like, are they on crack? Like, I'm sorry, it's not funny. But but yeah, you'd be like, are they like, they're too happy? Are they like on cocaine? But yeah, that's what an episode basically is. Like, someone just drank like an energy drink, like doing fucking, what are they called? I was gonna say cross puzzles. Not cross puzzles, jumping jacks. Just like, or that guy at the gym that's just doing way too much. And you're like, what's up, bro? It's kind of what that is. I'm very rare to have those, but mine are more so like, I'll like do something I would never normally do, and I think that I can do it, and I'm like, yes, I can do this. I'm like on top of the world. I can do anything. Okay, and that's also a part of BP2. It's really extreme high self-confidence. I'm sorry if I had that anyway, because I do. I'm very confident in myself, but that's a part of that. But it's like, anyone can be confident in themselves. I don't know why my camera keeps doing that, but maybe it's my shirt. Weird. But in an episode though, it's like hyper self-confidence. So like, say that you've never built a house before, okay? And you go out and you have like all the tools, whatever. You're like, I'm gonna build this fucking house. I'm gonna build it in 5 days. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it. That's what an episode with like a heightened like mania is. So it's like, you know, realistically, you cannot build a house in 5 days, especially if you have no experience building a house. But I'm sorry, that's my favorite face. I've been doing this since I was little. It's just like when I'm really excited, I do that face. It's like I'm funny. No, but you know you can't build a house. You try to build a house, and then that's when the bipolar comes in, because you're like, in the beginning, you're like, I could build this house in 5 days and I can do it. I've never done it before, but I'm gonna do it. I'm like, no, I can't. No one's gonna stop me. And then the 5th day comes, and then that's when you have a the decrease in self-confidence, and the mania disappears, and you're like normal again. And you're like, oh, what the? You're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, and why did I even want to do this anyway? I don't even know how to build a house. It's gonna go away now. So that's what that is. So like, you know, explain it to people that don't know, because that's what I have BP2. Do your research before you judge though, okay? Because I will smack you. I'm just playing. So if you probably even noticed in my videos, it's also a thing of like flying from idea to idea very fast. So before I even finish the first idea I'm trying to explain, it's like going to the next one. You're like, wait, I'm confused. Wait, please, calm down. I know people that know me, they're like, oh, what? Bitch, why you didn't say nothing? I'm saying something now. They're like, wait, you're going too fast. Like, you're talking too fast. Like, wait. And then it's like, no, like, you cannot try to interrupt me when I'm in this state. Because you're like, wait. And you're like, no, wait. And just talking a mile a minute. And you're just like, okay, can't stop her, so I'm just gonna listen, and I have no idea what's going on, but I can't stop her, so. And then I'm done, and you're like, cool. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, because you went through so many ideas so fast, I don't know what the fuck. But then the research that I've done, it interests people for some reason. They're like really intrigued, because they're like, wow, like your mind is so complex, which it is. You know, I've met a couple people with BP2, and it's different for everyone. Mine is very mild, and there's also 2. So there's BP1 and there's BP2. They're very completely different. Do your research, because I'm not gonna go through them now, but if you want me to, shoot me a DM or DM on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll see what I can do. So apart from this also is decreased need for sleep. So when I was in high school, I would be able to go nearly, not a week, but nearly 5 days with no sleep. Can you imagine? Like, now that's a little bit harder for me because, like, it's hard. I'm growing up. It's hard. But did I drink coffee then? I think I did drink coffee, so it was like even worse. And I was so fatigued, like, but I would still go to school. So imagine trying to function on 5 days of no sleep. But it was like nothing for me. It's like with BP2, I don't know why, but your sleep is like really affected. So in high school, I had the most terrible episode for maybe about a year or two of terrible insomnia where I could not sleep for the life of me. Like, you should have seen how many sleeping pills I had because I couldn't sleep. It was really weird. Like, my mind was always running. So even now I have a couple of days where I'm like, can't sleep well because I'm just having, like, I don't like to call it an episode, but it's what it is. Like, if I'm having a harder episode or a harder time with life, sorry, I'm like really bad heartburn, but when I'm, you know, having a harder time or I'm really worried about something or anxious, I'm not able to sleep. So, you know, I'll have sleeping pills or something like that because I want to sleep. Thinking like, you don't need to sleep. You're on top of the world. Who needs sleep when you're the best? You know? You're like, bitch, I do need to sleep. I'm fucking human. But that's what that is. So, yeah. But anyways, yeah. So that's what that is. If you want to get to know me a little bit better, you know, I think people should know that about me. But remember, keep in mind, before I was diagnosed with that, I was really depressed. So I gotta manage the two sometimes. You know, if you see me and I'm like really sad for like a month, you know why? Because there's no reason. Like, what's wrong? Did your dog die? I was like, no, there's nothing wrong. He alive right now. It's like, why though? Why? Don't ask me questions either. Don't just like keep asking me why this and why that. Bitch, I don't know. Depression sucks. It's unexplainable sometimes. So this isn't a part of BP2. I'm sorry, I'm like all up. Hey. This isn't a part of BP2, but it's a part of depression. So this is for people that are just not like educated enough to like hit Google and like search this with someone that says they have depression. Like, are you stupid? Sorry, that's mean, but it's like, ew. Lip gloss clump. It looks like I have semen. So, reduced appetite is a part of depression. So if someone tells you that they have a history of depression or they've been depressed before or they're going through depression, do not, and I repeat, do not comment on their weight. Because I went through the toughest depression of my life not too long ago, like in the past year or two. And a part of depression is appetite. When you are severely depressed, you either do not eat at all. Literally, I would go like weeks without eating, or you overeat. The depression I'm getting out of now, kind of overeating. I gained like 50 pounds, like, no cap, like, no, like 40 though. Gained like 40 pounds in this past depression that I was going through. So, you know, I'm not at it or anything. I'm kind of plump, but you know, it wasn't always. I'm happy with how I look. I could like lose a couple pounds, but whatever, I'm happy. So depression that I've been through, sorry, this chair is really squeaky. Before, I won't eat at all. Like, there was a time where I dropped like 30 pounds in the time span of 2 months because I was severely depressed and I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat anything. I would try to eat and I feel like I was gonna throw up. I would physically throw up. I would be like, become ill if I tried to eat. And people don't know how to sympathize with that. They're like, oh, she's been acting really weird, like she must be on drugs. And it's just really insensitive, and it's just really like, bitch, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, do some Googling, do some research before you judge somebody, because you don't know what they're going through. You know, we've all done it. I've judged people that I didn't know what they were going through. It's a part of life. But I've learned, sorry, I don't know why I like have my hand like this. This is my tattoo, by the way, of my grandpa. Grandpa's initials, RP, Ronnie Pullum, in the crown because he's my king. And here is my scar. See, I'm sorry. See how easily I get off topic? But anyways, what I was saying is, don't be insensitive to people's depression and how they handle it. Because like I said in the beginning, when I first struggled with depression, I didn't eat at all. I just couldn't eat. And then when my depression was up and down, my eyebrows look really good. When my depression was up and down, I would overeat, and it would just go fluctuate back and forth, back and forth. I wouldn't eat at all. I would eat too much. Wouldn't eat at all. Wouldn't eat too much. It's just what it is. It's just a part of depression. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that to some people out there who thought little me was on drugs. Baby, I don't do drugs. Never have, never will. You know, there's nothing against people who do drugs, but I don't know, like you shouldn't, because it's like bad for you and you can like die. People have died from overdoses, people close to me, people in the media, you know, famous people. So yeah, like don't do drugs. Like, especially in my city, Oakland, a lot of druggies, people that like don't think they're crackheads because they pop pills. Yeah, y'all, I'm talking to y'all. You're a crackhead. Stop it. It's disgusting. I don't like crackheads. Oh, I'm sorry, no judging. No judgment, because I don't know what you're going through. You know, some people don't have depression and they like feed it with drugs, and you know, I don't recommend. No, you could die. So I'd rather just like eat a lot of food or not eat at all. That's like my medicine. But yeah, shout out to my people who thought I was on drugs, because I was really skinny though. I didn't realize how skinny I was until I see pictures and I was like, you don't even look the same person. That's nasty. I was really unhealthily skinny. Like, I looked like a lollipop because I have a big head and I have like a little body. Like, literally, I don't even have no titties. Like, not my titties. I've always had big boobs. Okay, remember the family. My dad's side, it's a big titty family. But you know, I always had like, yeah. Just, you know, I thought I'd get a little bit more in depth with a girl from Oakland. You know, help y'all understand me a little bit. Because I have been told I'm very complicated and I'm hard to understand. But if you watch this video, hopefully I'll make it a little easier to understand. Because, you know, I used to be like a social media mogul or whatever. But I'm more than just pictures, you know? I'm a real person. And I have a life. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Next time my hair is gonna be better. I wanted to make a video, so yeah. Got this stupid hair thing going on. But anyways, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. It's gonna be a lot of stuff coming up soon when I know what to post, because I'm gonna just leave this here because it's the real me. But once I really realize, you know, what to post and how to post it, like, I mean, not how to post it, but like, you know, what topics I really want to talk about, want to come across. I realize when I post videos, the comments are off. I don't know why that happens, but I would love for you guys to leave comments on what I should talk about. Because I don't really be knowing what to talk about. It's been a while since I posted a video because I don't really be knowing what to talk about. And a friend of mine not too long ago was like, why don't you talk about mental health? I was like, okay. That's hard for me, but okay. But I'm not really ashamed of it like I used to be. I used to be really ashamed. But now I'm like, bitch, I'm different. That's what they like. Anyways, you guys, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram. And I was gonna say YouTube, this too. But Twitter. Follow me on Twitter because I don't have no followers and I'm pretty funny. Anyways, yeah.